On August 16, 2023, there's a new moon in Leo making a perfect square to Uranus. But Venus is retrograde and Mercury is about to go retrograde. And so this can feel like you're in the starting gate, ready to take off when somebody tells you the race is actually next week. What does this mean for you? That's what we're going to talk about. Hi everyone, I'm Donna Stellhorn, your practical astrologer, and today we are talking about the new moon. It's on August 16, it's at 23 degrees of Leo. We're going to do a short overview and then we're going to go sign by sign. So before we get started, I wanted to address a question that I get a lot, and that is what house system that I use. And that is actually Placidus. When I read for a person, I'm going to use the Placidus house system. When you see the chart that I put on the screen for these videos, that's a 0 Aries chart, which looks like a whole sign chart. Now, I know whole sign charts are quite popular now, and actually I find that a little mystifying. So, because a whole sign chart means that you don't know some of the house cusps. You don't know the second house, like you don't know when a planet would enter your house of money, or you wouldn't know when a planet entered your house of romance. And so this to me is important information. So if I'm reading your chart specifically, then I'm going to use a house system where I can see that, and I choose Placidus. The 0 Aries chart that I use for these videos is because I'm doing general predictions. And if I used a chart located in my place, it would only apply to people basically who lived around me, and you might live very far from me. So I use a 0 Aries chart because that gives me an idea of the general energies. And so because this is a general reading, sometimes when I say you're doing some money energy, if your chart is lined up in a certain way with interceptions and things like that, maybe you did that energy 2 weeks ago. Maybe you're going to do it in 2 weeks. The general energy is to guide you to say, look, you have some opportunities in this area now from a general standpoint, and so therefore you can grab hold of those opportunities if you make an effort in that area. But again, if I want to see really what's going on with you, I want to look at your specific chart. And I guess I should say I do readings. The information is in the description. Now let's talk about this specific chart. And so when we're interpreting a chart, we're looking at the different planets and how they interact with each other. And so kind of picture it as we're at a party, and some of the people know each other and some of the people don't. And sometimes a couple will be very obvious. They walk in together and we can see them together. But sometimes they're on either side of the room and they're just kind of keeping an eye on each other, and we might not know they're a couple. So this new moon's making a square to Uranus. And so that's a very particular couple here. And that is that there is energy about change and disruption going on. And it's not like they're sitting right next to each other because this is a square. And so that means that the person's to one angle, they're to one side, almost in a combative position. A friend of mine, a great astrologer, Arthur Chadbourne, who has since passed on, used to say that a square is like when your friend needs a wedding cake and you go to the bakery and they've done it completely wrong. You know, everything is wrong about it and they want to charge you anyway. There's only one thing you can do, and that is to fight. You have to fight to get the name spelled right and the right color. They have to redo the cake. And yet, there is a chance you could win and they do redo it. Or there's a chance you could lose and you walk away with a bad cake. And so that's the square energy. You must fight, and there's a chance you'll win, there's a chance you'll lose. So what is this challenge right now? Well, this is a new moon in Leo. Leo is about confidence and presence and doing your own thing. It is about having joy and fun and, just celebrating life. And it's making a square to Uranus. And the challenge is, can you do this in a world that is so uncertain? Because that's what Uranus is. It's sudden change. It's unexpected events. And so can you be joyful and express yourself and do creativity and have fun while it feels like the world is so uncertain. That's the challenge. And to win is to say, yes, that I know I'll be okay. That you're going to be fine no matter what changes in the world because you'll figure it out. And to lose is to say, no, I need to be watchful of every single little thing because I'm uncertain about who I am and what I'm doing, and therefore one little change can set me off. Now, I mentioned the party, and so there can be these kind of secret relationships going on, and the secret relationship in this chart is that Uranus is in Taurus, ruled by Venus, which is now retrograde, which means that this is the same story that you've done before. These are the same uncertainties, the same changes, and now you have an opportunity to do them differently. That's what the retrograde brings us, is an opportunity to go through the same thing, but make new choices. And then Mercury is going to go retrograde on August 23rd, all the way to September 15. Not 13. So, and that means that again, we are repeating something. We're looking at something again and saying, is this a choice I want to make? Do I want to rethink this? Do I want to redo it? Do I want to remake it? This is our time to look and do the same thing in a different way. The other really interesting thing about this chart is Saturn is making almost no aspects. It's making one little wimpy semi-sextile, which means Saturn, the planet of restriction and hard work and feeling like you're not good enough, is absent. And that means that you can embrace the Leo part, I can do this, I have confidence, I want to have fun. So while we're in the starting gate and we're ready to try something new with the square to Uranus, and yet Venus is retrograde and Mercury is going to go retrograde, we stop and say, I'm going to do this in a new way. Whether it's starting a business or starting a friendship or looking for a relationship, say, I'm going to do this in a new way. I'm so glad that you're here listening to this and, being on this journey with me. There's going to be some really exciting videos coming up. There's going to be a blue moon at the end of August. That's a very special moon, so we're going to be talking about that. There's a couple of eclipses in October. We're going to be talking about that. And of course, we've got the dragon year coming up. There's going to be a lot of videos about that. So I hope you will subscribe and stay tuned for what's coming. Okay, in this video, we are doing tropical Western astrology. It's good to listen to your rising sign. That's going to tell you most about what's going to be happening. If you don't know your rising sign, you can get a copy of your chart from me. There is a link in the description. I do readings. I also have some video courses. The latest is Reading Tarot the Natural Way. There's a link for that in the description. Okay, that's enough about me. Let's talk about you, and let's go sign by sign. Okay, Aries, you guys are doing this new moon, lighting up your house of fun, adventure, risk-taking, romance, as well as creativity, personal expression, and kids. So these are the areas of your life where you're being challenged to take some sort of different action. So this is where you want to start something, and you probably already have in mind what it is that you want to start, but this is where you want to do it differently. You want to use that Uranus in a positive way, not to have it just be unexpected things in your life, but for you to be unexpected and do things differently. So from an art standpoint, maybe that's using a different medium, or maybe that is putting your art out into the world because you don't normally do that. Maybe it's taking a different tactic with your kids, or maybe it's taking a different route to get children in your life. And that might be that you're getting some help or looking at adoption. If it's about risk-taking, you might be looking at how you've taken risks in the past, and maybe they've been risks where you just jumped in, but maybe you need to take a more calculated risk where you have actually, weighed the different pros and cons. So this is a type of thing to be looking at what you're already planning to start and say, how can I do it differently? Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, that house is lit up. is got Venus retrograde there, which could bring someone from your past that maybe you tried to date, maybe went out one time. It also has the new moon there for a new beginning and meeting someone new. Plus, there is a semi-sextile going on between the Sun and Mars. So you have everything here that says that all you need to do is take a little bit of action and something positive could happen. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Venus is making a semi-sextile to Mars and Venus is retrograde. So therefore, this may be some sort of point of contention between you and your sweetheart that you need to go over. And it's a tiny thing. It's one of those, they don't put the things in the dishwasher quite right, or, that they don't quite hit the laundry hamper or something like that. So there's something that you want to address, but in a new way. And so approaching it in a different way, or getting a much bigger laundry hamper, or get one that has like a little basketball hoop on it so that they have something to aim at. So, and I'm being really stereotypical here. I mean, this could be, that they don't change the oil in their car. That's still very stereotypical. So, but you get what I mean. Now, when it comes to friendships, Mars is making a trine to Uranus. So you have better energy for friendships right now than you've had in a while. And so you do want to take the steps to be around new people and, meet strangers and, especially ones who come together for a shared purpose, because you could meet some new friends. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from that Venus, which is retrograde. And that means that even though you're trying to get some new sources and look at money from this fresh perspective, you have to also consider the things you've been doing. And if you're doing those correctly, or if you need to adjust how you're handling your money. Now, Venus is going through your house of risk-taking. This would be for unconventional investments or investing in yourself in a sense of doing your creative work, putting out content, or things like that. That's the things to be focused on right now. If you are in risky investments, maybe you are rethinking these or looking at ways that you can diversify your portfolio a little bit more. So, and it also could bring in a new source of income that was almost here before and wasn't quite, and now you have another chance at it. Now, when it comes to money from investments, and these would be more traditional investments, as well as your business, you're making about the same as usual. Venus is not making an aspect with Pluto, and Venus is moving even farther away. So this is really a time to be working on some new projects, and those paychecks, whatever, that you're working on, that's not ready yet. So this is going to line up in the future. So, but right now, I think you're making about the same as usual. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, it's a completely different story. Venus is making a square to Uranus. And so this is a absolute time to approach your supervisor and say, what do I need to do to make more money? What do I need to do to get the promotion? Or to be looking around for a new job, because this is new moon energy. It would say, do something new. And even though it's going to take a little bit longer because Venus is retrograde and Mercury will be retrograde, it's worth planting the seeds so that you can have that harvest later. Okay, Taurus, you guys are doing this new moon in your house of home and family. And so this is where you are looking at doing new things or doing some things in this new way. And so maybe if you're feeling like, well, is the house secure? Well, maybe that means diverting more money towards paying down the mortgage. Or if you're in a rental situation, maybe that is diverting more money towards the savings to either get some land or buy a house, or maybe go in with some family members to buy some real estate. So it could be that. It could be just, shoring up your pantry, making sure that there's enough cat food in the house, so that just in case you can't get to the store, just in case, there's a storm or something like that, that you are okay. So it is about looking at the things at home and saying, this is going to be the solid place. The connections that you have with family, the connections you have with the dwelling itself, that's the solid. And that means that whatever storm goes out on outside, you're okay. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Venus is making a semi-sextile to Mercury. Mercury is in that house. Mercury is moving forward at the moment, but it is going to go backwards, which means that you have an opportunity to reconnect with someone that you almost connected with before. Also, you have Mars there, so you have a really excellent energy for meeting someone new. You just have to get past the little hurdle of getting out the door or sending the text or setting up the meeting. So do that, and you have some good luck when it comes to meeting someone new for a relationship. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Venus is not making an aspect with Pluto, so things are going along pretty well. With the Venus retrograde, it can bring up some old issues, but it's not quite time to address those. I mean, this is more of a time, because the Leo is the new moon is in that house of home and family. This is more of a time where you celebrate the family, where you celebrate your relationship and focus on that part. And then as we get past this after 2 weeks, this may line up where you can address this issue, or this issue may not be an issue anymore. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from that Mercury that will be going retrograde very soon. And that means that you're trying to finish up a project or something like that to get it launched. Maybe because this is the new moon, you are starting a new segment of the project or starting the project from scratch and you want to get it done. I'll tell you, when you hit that retrograde, you may start rethinking how you're doing it. So stay flexible, because that redoing it could make it better. But go ahead and launch the projects, launch the things that are going to, those things that you want to do is to make you money, but also be prepared to start rethinking whether this is the best direction. Sometimes you take action and then you find, oh, wait, I should be going the other direction. And that's okay. So we just want to stay flexible. Now, when it comes to money from business or money from your investments, you look like you're doing pretty well, because Mercury is making a trine to Jupiter. And as it slows down, it's going to make this trine for quite a while. So you have a really good opportunity to collect money that's owed to you, to expand your business, to bring in more money than usual. So this is a very, very good time for you financially, and you want to capitalize on that by taking action. The only problem with a trine is that it's so easy that you can ignore it, and then you miss out on extra. You miss out on the bonus. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, it is a different story, because there's no aspect going on between Mercury and Neptune, and because Mercury is going to go retrograde, I think that if you asked for a raise right now, they would just say, ask us again at the beginning of the year. So I think it would be better to just kind of, keep doing what you're doing, look for opportunities, but I don't think that the opportunities are coming right now. If this is a situation where you are looking to start a new job, try to begin the job itself outside the retrograde period, if that is at all possible. If it's not, then you want to do some sort of change when we hit the retrograde next time. And I didn't write down when that time was. Hold that thought. That'll be mid-December all the way to the end of December. I think it goes direct on January 1st. So at that point, you would have to rethink the job in some way, get a promotion or be done with training or something like that. But if at all possible, if you're getting a new job, try to start the new job outside the retrograde period. Okay, Gemini, you guys are doing this new moon in your house of communication, which is your wheelhouse. So perfect for you this 2-week period, because this is all about communicating with others, especially those in your community, neighbors, the people close to you in your life, like siblings and cousins. This is a time where you want to communicate out to the world through writing or teaching, and how you communicate with yourself. And all of these things you want to take a look at and see if you can kind of change it up a little bit. Like if someone doesn't seem to be understanding you, or that they continue to do the same behavior over and over, maybe if you're asking them to do something different, to ask in a new way. And that will help you use that square to Uranus, where it's less uncertainty out there, that you're just causing a change because you're doing something different. This is also potentially a really busy time, and you tend to be very busy already. And so this may be redoing your calendar system or looking at what you can get rid of off of your calendar. Like if you have this goal of reading, a certain amount of books, or you read 10 newspapers a day or something like that, like maybe change that up a little bit, especially during this time when you're probably going to be super busy. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Mercury is making a semi-sextile with Venus. And so Venus is retrograde and Mercury is going to be retrograde. And so there is this energy when it comes to new relationships that they're somehow old. Now, there's two ways that can happen. It could be that you met somebody, but you didn't actually go out, and now you're going to start dating. That's an okay way to do it. Or the person that's coming in, this new person, is a carbon copy of someone you broke up with in the past. That's not so good. And so you want to watch for if you're repeating a pattern. And if you are, then you want to see if there's an off-ramp. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, the energy is quite good. Mercury is making a trine with Jupiter, and because Mercury is slowing down to go retrograde, this trine is going to last a long time. And so that means more harmony in your love relationship for a longer period of time. It's possible you're all going on vacation, and that's why you're having such a good time. Now, when it comes to friendships, you have some really good energy here because Mercury's making a conjunction to Mars. And so that means if you can get out of the house, you could meet someone for a friendship, or you could meet several people. If you're involved in a group, you might find that there's a bunch of people that you really connect with. So this is a good time to be looking for friends. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from the moon in your house of thinking and communication, making an exact square to Uranus. And Uranus says change things up. And so this is very much about whatever the thought process that you have about your making money or your inability to make money, that is the thing that needs to change. And so how you communicate to yourself about money, if you're saying things like, I can't manage money, I can't keep track of it, investments scare me, like change the narrative, change the story that you're telling yourself, because this energy of change could be the breakthrough you've been looking for. Now, when it comes to money from investments or from your business, you're making about the same as usual. The moon's not making an aspect with Saturn. And so this is just a time to be rethinking it. So from that standpoint, you might, review your copy, your advertising copy, or review, what your diversification is on your portfolio. Is everything balanced? So you might do some reviews like that. But mostly you're doing about the same as usual. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that's like a paycheck, the moon's making a semi-sextile to Mars. That means that you have an opportunity to make a little bit more. And it may be a little bit of work. And so, but this is kind of like you could do a contest and win a gift card, or you get a small bonus, or you get it's just one of those cost of living increases. So, I would probably save your big ask for a time where you're really doing some strong energy, but you could look around and find a way to pick up extra shifts, or, maybe take a shift that, gives you a shift differential, or some small win like that. Okay, Cancer, you guys are doing this new moon in your house of money. This is also your area of possessions as well as self-worth. And so there is definitely some money opportunities for you. And with all of this energy that we're doing with the square to Uranus and a couple of planets going retrograde, this is about looking at something new and looking at it from a different way. And that might be that you need to change your attitudes about money or money making in general. If you could say that, yes, for your entire life, money has been hard and you've had to work hard at it. Well, then you go back in your history and you search for where it wasn't, where it was easy, where it was fun, and you bring those events forward. And as you pay attention to them, they expand, and then like attracts like, and things get better. And so you have this opportunity now to change something about your money that really helps you. And so I'm excited about it. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, the moon's making an inconjunct to Pluto. That means that there is new love opportunities, but you would have to make some sort of adjustment in, what you're looking for, or where you're looking, or who you're talking to, or, your connection with somebody that you're already in a relationship with. Something has to change before you can take hold of that new love. And so if you tell me that, no, none of those things apply, then you have to search for what it is you have to change, like go to a different place or, redo your profile or something. But if you were looking for new love during this 2 weeks, you have to make an adjustment. And when it comes to your existing love relationship, things are going about the same as usual. There's no energy right now between Moon and Saturn, and so your focus is more on yourself, which is good at the moment. That's what you're supposed to be doing, and so your partner and you are just doing, your own separate things. These two energies will line up in the future, and you'll get to, address things and move the relationship forward and really connect. But right now, you're supposed to be doing you. Now, when it comes to friendships, you have some very good energy. The moon is making a conjunction to Venus, and you've got Jupiter and Uranus in that house. So this is a time where you really want to put yourself out there to meet people, because people are going to want to meet you. And so this is your opportunity to go where you can meet strangers, who are like-minded, like going to groups or charity functions or things like that, because you could meet some really great friends. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from the sun and that new moon that's right in your money house. So just like I was saying at the beginning, this is where you could shine. This is the sun is shining this big spotlight on your money. And so if this is something where you're doing, impulse spending, well, here's where you can stop doing that. If you have sources, opportunities for money that you're not taking, this is where this big spotlight says, here is the opportunity, take that money. So this is a time where you want to look and, just stop for a moment and say, where is the money? How can I make an extra $100 today? How can I make an extra $500 today? Because we have so many opportunities to get so much information, but we sometimes have to stop and process that information so that we can see how it applies in our lives. And so if it does, like even if what I'm saying, you're saying, yeah, that doesn't apply to me, stop for a moment and say, what if it did? What if there is a money opportunity there and I could shine a spotlight on it? That's what we're looking for. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, you have some extremely strong energy here. The sun's making an exact square to Uranus. That is that win-lose sort of energy, and that means take the chance. That's the way that you have the potential to win. If you don't take the chance, it's a definite loss. So yes, you want to do as much calculations as you can if you're taking some sort of risk, but this says that you got to be playing to have a chance to win. What is, I don't remember the saying. So this is, yes, it's still a square. It's combative. It takes energy, but there could be a big win, and that's what you're trying for. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, and that would be like a paycheck, the sun's making a conjunction to Venus. You have Jupiter and Uranus in that house. You have super good energy now for asking for a raise or getting a job where you can make more money. This next 2 weeks is really the time you want to sit down with your supervisor or talk to the hiring manager, put your resume out there in the world, all of those things, because you definitely could make more money in your career. Okay, Leo, this is your new moon, which means this is the beginning of your lunar year. And so first of all, the more new things that you do over the next 2 weeks, the more seeds you plant, the bigger your harvest is going to be in a few months. So that's really important. And by new things, I mean, you can even do small things that could set off a chain of events. So that means that if you, whatever it is that you're starting, like if you just say, okay, I'm going to get up 15 minutes early to do meditation, that small thing could ripple and make such a difference in your life. What's also interesting about this energy is it's lighting up your house of personal expression, your physicality, how you enter the room. That is getting that square to Uranus, which says do something different. Now, Leo oftentimes will be so fixed and say, well, this is the way I've always done it. This is the way I want to do it. And yet, if you can change things up, you're going to get so much better results. And so looking at how you present yourself, your confidence, are you going in feeling confident ahead of time? Are you embodying what it is that you want to be? There's a difference between saying I play music and I'm a musician. When you're a musician, of course you're going to practice. You don't need to be motivated to do it. Of course you're going to play music. You don't need to be asked. You just want to do it. And so you don't need motivation if you embody what it is. And this is the time to decide what it is that you are embodying. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, the sun's not making an aspect with Jupiter. And while you've got a very strong first house here of, all of this Leo stuff, this is you focus on you and allow people to come to you, but you are not going after others. When you do, you're not going to have a connection. So this is about work on yourself but be seen out in the world. And it is possible that someone will come to you and say, oh, I'm very excited to meet you. And yet this is not the time to be focused on that. It's the time to focus on yourself. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, it's a different story because you do have a very strong house where it's a sense of self, plus the sun's making an exact square to Uranus. So that does say that you're looking to change something in the relationship. And that might be the bigger picture, the overall relationship, or some aspect of the relationship. You need to decide what it is that you want to change and what you're trying to get from that change. And then look and see if the change is always, if it's all dependent on them changing, then see if you can pull something back into your own power where you can make the change and then see the results. So you're looking at changes in your relationship. This is pretty aggressive energy, so I imagine this is going to happen within this 2-week period. Now, when it comes to friendships, the sun's making a semi-sextile to Mercury, and Mercury is going to go retrograde. So this means that you might meet someone over this 2-week period that then comes back into your life, or you are reconnecting with some friends that you had that you haven't spoken to in a while. So we do see some opportunities for friendships. It's a semi-sextile, so there's some energy that it takes a little exertion. There's a little bit of work involved. And so if you have the time, you could meet some new friends. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from that Mercury that's going to go retrograde in your house of money. And so that means it's time to look at how you handle your money and redo it. This is where you say, oh, I used to keep a budget and now maybe you need to go back to a budget. Or you do keep a budget, but there's something where you could do it better or differently. This is also looking at income sources. What can change in these income sources? How do you bump it up a little bit? How do you redirect it so more is going into savings? Looking at how you can change things up when it comes to your money, because even small little things that you do could ripple into bigger money-making opportunities. Now, when it comes to money derived from investments or from your business, generally, I'd say you're making about the same as usual. I actually see it's probable that you have a little more outgo than usual. So you may actually have a little less cash flow because I do think that you're doing some sort of investments in things. The Mercury retrograde also could be some recurring bills are coming due. Maybe you have some annual subscriptions or things. So I think that cash flow wise, you're paying a lot of attention right now. So therefore, I think that it's not that you're maybe making less, but more money seems to be going out. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that would be like a paycheck, you have some interesting energy because you've got Mercury going retrograde. And, the sun, which is lighting up you, so you're more noticeable now. And so this would kind of indicate that if you've already started the conversation about getting a raise, that you definitely want to continue it. If you are, negotiating for a higher salary as you're looking for a job, you definitely want to go in that direction. Otherwise, what can happen when Mercury officially does go retrograde is that they put you on hold. And so you do want to do your ask probably in the first week versus waiting till the end of this 2-week period, because I think you'll have better luck if you ask early rather than later. Okay, Virgo, you guys are doing this new moon lighting up your house of the unconscious part of you. Your actions that are automatic, the automatic pilot that you can be on. This is also, of course, the house of psychic ability and intuition and messages from the universe. And so it is likely that you are receiving messages from the universe. So, and I tell people, take the headphones off for a little bit so you can hear what's going on in the universe. And then also look at your unconscious behaviors. How much of yesterday are you repeating today, and what can you change up? This is also the last new moon of your lunar year. And so this is a time to be looking back over the past year and say, what did I do different? What did I accomplish? What do I want to change for the future? And so that you can get a plan together. So because next month you're going to do your beginning lunar cycle. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Saturn is not making an aspect with Mercury. And, you've got all of this energy that is in your hidden house. It is, about looking within, not looking outside. So if you've been looking for new love, this is the time. This is the 2-week break. Don't pull back, allow yourself to work on your own, processes, cut cords with past loves, clear out the house and just, smudge and, clear the energy. That's a better use for this time. And when it comes to existing love relationships, there's no aspect going on between Mercury and Neptune. So that means that your existing love relationship is just moving along as it always has. It's very hard to address issues right now. It's very hard to move it forward. If you were thinking about, talking about living together or something, this isn't the time to do it. Just take the 2 weeks, work on yourself, work on your art, your affirmations, your meditation, your magic. Do those things, and then you can address these things when we get to the full moon in 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to friendships, you do have a little bit of energy here because Mercury is making a semi-sextile to the moon. So there is something going on here. Maybe you're doing some humanitarian work or some charity work. You could meet somebody who's like-minded there. Again, with Mercury going retrograde, it's kind of like you'll meet the person, nothing happens, and then maybe they swing back in a few weeks and you see them again at something, and that's where the connection is established. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from that Venus, which is retrograde, in your house of psychic ability, intuition, and magic. And so that's where you want to put yourself in the mindset of making money, put yourself vibrationally open to making money. And you might do that through meditation, affirmations, journaling. You might light candles or burn incense. Look at your feng shui cures, dust those off, move them a little bit. Sometimes if you just move them an inch or two, they hit the energy and they start working again. So, all of these types of things is looking for the internal blocks and shifting your vibration so that you are more in line with receiving money. That's what's going to open the floodgates. Now, when it comes to money from investments or from your business, Venus is making a semi-sextile to Mars, so you're making a little bit more than usual, especially when you pay attention to the details. So that's kind of like the upsell. That's the, making a little bit more because you were charged less in fees. So you have an opportunity to make a little bit more than usual over this next 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, this is where your best energy is, because Venus is making a conjunction to the moon. But this energy, it's separated now because the Venus is going backwards and the moon is going forwards. They are going to come together again. So this is when you plant the seed. You're either going to get the raise right now, or they're going to say, swing back to us in a few weeks. Definitely do that. Put that on your calendar, because that's when that could happen, when these two come together again. So you have this opportunity to make more money in your career, either in this 2 weeks or in a very, English is so hard. And it's my first language. So you have an opportunity to make more money through your career in this next 2 weeks, or when Venus comes back to hit that moon in the future. Okay, Libra, you guys are doing this new moon, lighting up your house of friendships, groups, and organizations. And so you might be thinking about joining an organization, or maybe you are involved in an organization and you're thinking about stepping down from a leadership role, or maybe you're going to run for office so that you can be the leader of the group. Maybe you're thinking about forming a group right now. So doing things differently as it's related to groups is really helpful. The same thing with friendships. You might be looking to get closer with someone or give yourself more space with someone else. This is also about technology, and so this might be a time where you are looking specifically at technologies that you're using that maybe you've been procrastinating about learning, and saying, okay, I'm going to learn how to do this. I'm going to, maximize, profiles on different sites, or, get into, some new social media platform, that sort of thing. So this is the start of something where you do want to be flexible and change where there are different opportunities in these areas. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, you have some very strong energy because Venus is making a square to Uranus, and you have this house of friendships lit up. And so that does mean that somebody who was a friend could become a lover. That would also be in line with the Venus retrograde, that relationship is going through a change, or that friends introduce you to someone, or that you meet someone through a group or organization. So you have some really good energy for meeting a new love over the next 2 weeks. When it comes to existing love relationships, Venus is making a semi-sextile with Mars. And so in general, the relationship's going pretty well, except there may be a couple little tiny stumbling blocks, things that you want to talk about. And this is a time maybe that you notice that you keep asking for the same thing and not getting it. It's time to shift how you're asking for it. It's time to rephrase it, or ask it in a different way, or ask them why they're not doing it and what you could do to help them do this thing that you're looking for. And then when it comes to friendships, like I said, you have your whole house lit up. The sun is making a conjunction with Venus. And so there is so much good energy here for friendships. So, go to meetings, go to groups, go out with friends and meet their friends, hold a party, meet people, be in situations where you can meet people and you could meet some great friends. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from that Pluto, which is down there in your fourth house of home, family, foundations, how your upbringing affects your money making, as well as that Mars, which is in your house of the unconscious. And the Mars is moving to trine that Pluto. So you have some very strong energy here, but something in your unconscious could be holding you back. And so that is to look at money attitudes, to say to yourself, what is it that you say about money? Do you say that how much money you make is dependent on the economy? Do you say, well, I don't have luck with money, or I don't know how to do this? You need to go back into your entire history and say, where can I challenge that idea. Where did you make money even though the economy was bad? Where did you come up with some new ideas? Where did you handle something you didn't think you could handle? Bring those things forward. Those past experiences, those can then expand. And that will flip your story. That will change how you feel about money, and that changes your financial picture. Now, when it comes to money that comes from investments or from your business, I was going to say that you're making about the same as usual, but it does actually look like there's more outgo going on right now. That might mean that you are investing more. So you're, tying up some funds, that was in cash. This may be that you are, you have some annual contracts that are due, or you are making a large purchase for supplies or merchandise to sell. So your cash flow looks a little bit tight, but again, this is something where it's not that you're making less, it just looks like more is going out for necessary things that are going to help you in the future make more. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so this would be like a paycheck, first of all, the new moon is there. So this means there's a big opportunity. Venus is retrograde in that house. So that means even if you started this process already, you have another chance to sit down with your supervisor and talk about it. Plus, the sun is making an inconjunct to Pluto. And I know inconjunct's not the happiest of aspects, but it's still an aspect, and you need an aspect to get the money that's out there into your hands. So everything here is lined up to say that if you were willing to make some adjustments and to cause others to make adjustments, you could make more money in your career. Okay, Scorpio, you guys are doing this new moon right at the top of your chart. That means there's a gigantic spotlight and you're standing in that light. That means you're super visible right now. That can help you get a new job. That can help you be seen by others, to get more publicity, to, just have even your posts, your social media posts, go out farther. So you're visible right now. And this is interesting energy because Scorpio, you don't generally like to be visible. You like to have things under your control. So this can be somewhat uncomfortable, but at the same time, something you've been wishing for if you've been looking to do more. Now, where you want to change things up a bit is where you may have an attitude of, I can't do social media because I don't want to be seen. Well, then how do people do social media without being seen? Do they just shoot the camera towards their hands where they're working on something, or the back of their head, or do they do a voiceover? It is about not stopping with, I can't do it because, and say, if I had to do this, how could I do it where it's still okay for me? Where, how can I change it up so it will work for me? The key is in the questions. And that's why Venus is retrograde there, so that you will ask and say, how can I do this to make it work? Now, this is also your house of career. So that is, you're looking at your job and saying, if you can't move to another job because you're waiting to get some sort of bonus next year or stock option or something, how can you make this job better? And looking for things that you can change, not that other people can change, because, that's a ship that may never come in. So looking at, is there a shift of attitude? Is there a different way that you could do something? Could you automate something that's really annoying, to speed things up? So it's about asking these types of questions, and that's the way to use this energy. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Neptune's making a sextile to Pluto, and your whole chart is lit up because you have the sun and moon right at the top of your chart. So this is a great time to be looking for love, even with Venus retrograde. The Venus retrograde is going to bring you people who either remind you of people from the past or will bring a person around again, and they'll say, I remember you, and you might say, oh, I don't remember you. So, or it's somebody that you remember and you say, let's go out this time. We didn't go out before, let's do it. So you have very good energy here for meeting someone for a love relationship. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Venus is not making an aspect with Pluto, and so you're doing about the same energy as usual. The relationship's just moving along. The focus for you really is on your presentation out in the world, not so much on this one-on-one relationship going on at home. So this is a time to think about your career, think about your brand, think about your reputation, and your relationship is just going to move on as it has been for the next 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from that Jupiter, which is going to get a square from that Venus that is coming retrograde. So the Venus is coming back. So a money opportunity that didn't happen, it didn't materialize, is coming back. And that could be even that there was something you were going to do to make money and you didn't. Now you have another opportunity, or someone said they were going to pay you. Now that's actually going to happen. So the customer who said they were going to buy, now they're buying. So this is what to be looking for. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, you're doing pretty well. Mercury is making a trine to Jupiter, and that means there are definite opportunities to make more money. Now, this is a trine, and a trine means that you have to take some sort of action, because a trine can feel so easy, so comfortable, like the money just starts to flow in, and then you miss out on the big money because you didn't take the action. So don't get lulled into, oh, this is so easy, but take some action about it, really consider it, and then you could really increase what's coming in. Now, when it comes to money from career, so that would be like a paycheck, of course, this is probably one of your best times ever, because your house of career is lit up and Mercury is making that trine to Jupiter. You have more opportunity to get more money in your current job or through changing jobs right now than you've had in a long time. So you definitely want to capitalize on this energy. Now, because Mercury is going retrograde, this trine between Mercury and Jupiter is going to last a while. So this window for you extends beyond the 2 weeks, but the next 2 weeks is particularly strong. So if you've been thinking about asking for a raise, this is the time to do it. Okay, Sagittarius, this new moon is lighting up your house of education, travel, legal matters, like spirituality, but from a philosophical standpoint, like what is your belief system? These are all the things that you're so good at anyway. And so that is that you're going to just take this energy and change it up a little bit so that you can have more of what you do naturally. And so that is, like if you're thinking about going back to school, this is a time to be saying, okay, do I have my application in? Do I know where I'm going? Or are you doing it through video courses? Are you doing self-study? Are you looking to publish something? This is where you would launch that, or, well, you wouldn't launch it because it's a new moon. You would get it started. So to get ready for the launch at the full moon. This is a time too where the Venus retrograde is asking you to rethink some things philosophically, or to look at a legal matter that you're in and say, am I doing this the best way? If the attorney that's helping you is very busy, maybe you need to get more involved in it. Or, if there's some sort of application that you need to get in and you're having trouble, you find the help. Like this is where it's lit up right now. And so that means that spending a little time doing those things can help. And you may have this real desire to travel now. And so looking at different ways that you could travel on the budget that you have with the limited time that you have, finding that by asking yourself the new questions and looking at doing it in a different way. And by the way, I should say that while you're doing this energy, you may meet people from other countries more during this next 2 weeks. And so if you make a great connection there, who knows? I mean, that might be a couch you get to sleep on in some foreign country. How cool would that be? You probably want a whole guest room, not a couch. I would want a whole guest room. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Mars is not making an aspect with Jupiter. And that means that mostly you're focused on expanding your world, and that can attract attention and somebody could come to you. But this isn't a time for you to be chasing after someone specifically, but more looking at the bigger picture. And so if you are focused on finding new love, this is a time just to go meet lots and lots of people. Go to a convention, go to a conference, go to a church or a temple or a synagogue and meet people there, but meet people in general, and you could find love. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Mercury is making a trine to Jupiter. That is really good energy. That says that the relationship can be going along pretty well, that you can find harmony and more peace in your relationship. Plus, because Mercury is going retrograde, this trine is going to go on for quite a while. And so you have a period of being happier in your love relationship. And so you want to notice that and enjoy that. Now, when it comes to friendships, you have very strong energy because Venus is making a square to Jupiter. And because Venus is retrograde, this could mean somebody who remembers you from a different group, and they're in this group, and what a coincidence, and you get together that way. Or this is somebody who reminds you of friends that you have, or they're the friends of your friends. And so there is opportunities to meet more people for friendships over this next 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from Saturn. That's the planet that is only doing one aspect in this entire chart, and that is an out-of-sign semi-sextile to Pluto, which is in your house of money. So there is some small thing here that needs your attention that is tripping you up. And this is something that maybe it is so automatic, something that you're doing unconsciously, because Saturn is in Pisces, where you are, impulse buying something or missing a money opportunity. And it's not even that you're procrastinating, you just do other things and then you don't have time to do the money-making opportunity. It's something really subtle. It may be related to family and your upbringing. It may be related to an idea that you've had since childhood. And as small as this thing is, the adjustment that you need to make is just as small. It is just catching yourself doing it. That's the trick about all this, is it when you become aware that, oh, this is the trigger that gets me to impulse buy, or this is the trigger that stops me from asking for the sale. And then it's clear. And then you can figure out, oh, okay, now I'm doing this. I can stop myself, and then things change. So when it comes to money from investments and money from your business, I think you're making about the same as usual, and that is probably the point of frustration. There's no aspect, of course, going on between the moon and Saturn, and so the money that is being promised to you is not quite reaching your accounts yet. I think more to the point is that you're making about the same as usual, and it feels like it's hard to get past that limit, that ceiling. And that is that you need to stop and say, what is the unconscious behaviors that I'm doing? What's the small thing I need to change? That's where the breakthrough is. Now, you have slightly different energy when it comes to money derived from career. So that would be like a paycheck. And that's because even though there's no aspect between Venus and Saturn, the Venus is retrograde. And so if you have already started the conversation about getting a raise, then that might be reinitiated and start again. So there could be some opportunities here to make a little bit more money, to have something change in this area. Again, like this energy is going to line up better in the future. So if it's not necessary to ask for a raise at the moment, you might want to pass on it because the results that you get might be smaller than you're looking for. Okay, Capricorn, you guys are doing this new moon in your house of resources. This is investments and loans and banking and all of that. It is also, though, about power dynamics and close personal relationships where there's an intimacy factor of needing to trust the person. And so when it comes to your investments and things like that, you might be really investigating things. And there's also, I mean, this can work both ways. Like you might be being investigated in the sense that, the bank is reviewing your application and seeing if you should get the loan, or maybe you've gone to a government organization to get a loan, and so they're going through all your paperwork and things like that. So you may feel it that way, but this is about shifting something, about changing something, and that could be looking at new investments, looking at new ways to borrow money, looking at new ways to get out of debt. So those are the kind of things where you could make a shift. When it comes to power dynamics, it's very much about looking at what the other person's going to gain. This is Venus retrograde time. So everybody's looking for, what is it that I want? Do I still want that? Do I want something else? So looking at what the other person gets out of this, because what they wanted in the first place may have changed. And so you could then, if you know what they're looking for, then you can kind of head them off and say, oh, I'm going to give you this. And they're like, oh, that's what I wanted. Wow. And then it's all done. And this also could mean increase in intimate relationships, or an intimate relationship could get more intense. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, even though Venus is not making an aspect with Saturn, your house of intimacy is lit up. Venus is retrograde and it's in motion. And it's going to make a square to Jupiter in your house of romance. So you've got enough aspects here, but the type of person that you're going to meet may want to get into an intimate relationship with you very, very quickly. And if that's what you're looking for, yay. But if that's not, then you might want to wait until this aspect lines up better. I mean, you certainly could meet somebody where you have a lot of physical attraction to each other. And so again, if that's high on your list, this is a good time to look around. Otherwise, you might want to wait. When it comes to existing love relationships, the moon's not making an aspect with Saturn, so everything's just going along as usual. Not a lot of things you can do to create much change right now. And so if you've been wanting to make a change in this relationship, you just wait. With Mercury's retrograde and Venus's retrograde, it's just time to kind of wait and see how the retrograde causes things to change on its own. Now, when it comes to friendships, you're actually the one person who is doing an energy with Saturn, which is that semi-sextile, out of sign semi-sextile with Pluto. And so, yes, it feels like a little bit of a long shot, like you're throwing a dart from really far, trying to hit the bullseye. So, but when it works, it really works. So if you have an opportunity to go to a party or an event or something, especially anything that would be around investing or money making or some sort of social club where, people get together to meet someone for a love relationship, anything like that, you could hit the jackpot. Again, it's a little bit of a long shot. The odds are a little bit high, but boy, if you win, you really win. So you might want to take the chance. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from that Saturn that we've been talking about, but also Uranus, which is in an exact square with this new moon. So that really means that there is a new opportunity. And if you don't see it at the moment, you have to start asking yourself the questions of where is the opportunity? Or maybe the question is, how can I make an extra $500 today? Like if you might ask the question, if I needed to change jobs now, what kind of job could I do? And, list a bunch of different jobs, or go out on one of the AI platforms and ask it, like, what are 50 different jobs I could do with these skills that I have? So brainstorm some ideas with your friends, with your family, because something's going to click here with that exact square and give you an opportunity for a win. Now, when it comes to money derived from investments or your business, you show that you are making more money over this next 2 weeks. Uranus is making an exact square to the sun. That house is lit up. There are more opportunities here than you have usually. So look for where they are, grab hold of those, that they're right there for the taking. Now, when it comes to money derived from your career, so that would be like a paycheck, you have both the semi-sextile from Saturn to Pluto, as well as Mars trine Uranus. You have a double aspect, and you have that trine. That trine is great. I think that, money could come, like a raise, but you could also get other perks, like stock options or a bonus or some sort of other prize in and amongst all of this. So this could be quite the windfall for you. So consider asking for the raise, or asking what opportunities are there, or negotiating for a higher salary if you're looking for a job. Okay, Aquarius, you guys are doing this new moon, lighting up your house of relationships, partnerships, collaborations, and finding, like mentors or people to help you along the way. And so this is very much about partnerships. And so instead of thinking that you need to do things alone, consider, could somebody help you? Could they help you in a material way, or could they help you just in a small way, like give you a little boost or a little leg up? So consider all of the different ways people could help you. Consider the people who are around you and who you could reach out to, but really focus on where partnerships could happen. Sometimes, Aquarius, you can be very independent, and independence has pluses, because you have your own schedule and nobody to answer to, but it also can be limiting. And so this is a time to look at the opposite side of that, of when, yes, you might be obliged to somebody and have responsibilities in that connection, but they also, bring to the table, like coding skills or sales skills or something that you're looking for. Now, this is also highlighting just your personal relationship, and that with that exact square to Uranus, some change could be going on with Venus retrograde. This might be a change you tried to do in the past, and now this is coming and happening, or you're re-looking at something. So this could be, like if you are separated, maybe you're thinking about getting back together. Or if you've talked about separating, maybe now you are separating. So there could be some big changes in a relationship. And if you can't think of what they are, then think about your relationship and what should change in that relationship, and see if you can make that happen, especially if you want to preserve the relationship. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, you've got some great energy. Your house of relationships is lit up, and Mercury is making a trine to Uranus. Now, Mercury is going to go retrograde, so that means that what could happen is somebody could come back into your life as a new love, and that means that maybe they were a friend before, maybe you didn't go out before. So now, there is, of course, whenever Venus is retrograde and Mercury is retrograde, there's a chance of getting back together with your ex, and I always think that you want to use caution with that, because they have to have changed and you have to have changed to make it work. So if you're getting back together, make sure that changes have happened. Otherwise, you're just going to repeat the cycle you had before. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, it's basically what I said in the opening. Your relationship is going to go through a change. The sun is making an exact square to Uranus, so something is changing. Now, that change can be between the two of you, between the two of you, or this could be that the two of you are doing something different in the external world. So, and that might be that the two of you are picking up and moving across the country, or the two of you are announcing that you're getting married, or announcing that you're not getting married, that you're getting separated. So, or that you're starting a business together. Like, there are ways where the two of you are unified and announcing something. So, yeah, so that was less about the separation part and more about the doing something as a couple and making a change in the outside world. I think you get the drift. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from that Neptune, as well as Jupiter, which is at the base of your chart, making an extended trine to the Mercury, so the Mercury has moved forward, but it's going to slow down so we can change directions and come back, which means you got this extended trine energy going on. That means you have more luck right now when it comes to, investments and business and things like that, past this 2-week period. So, but it's a trine, and trines are they're so easy sometimes that we can just sleep right through them. And so this is where you want to be paying attention, where you want to be actively working on it, because it could be like, suddenly some investment goes way up and you say, oh, that's so nice, yawn, and then it goes back down and you missed the window. And so this is looking at your money with, with your attention, putting your attention on it so that you can see the opportunities to grab hold of them when they come. Now, when it comes to investments or money from business, even though Mercury's not making an aspect with Neptune, just like what we said before, that Mercury is doing the extended trine with Jupiter, plus Mercury is in that house. Mars is there too. This is very good energy for making more money. Maybe that money doesn't actually reach you in the 2-week period, but it is coming. You'll be able to secure it. So I do see you making more money, but maybe it's a little bit farther out than 2 weeks. And then when it comes to money derived from career, so that's like a paycheck, Jupiter's making a semi-square to Neptune. And the semi-square energy is that there's going to be some hoops that you have to jump through to get this raise. And that might be that you have to wait a little bit, or that you have to take on some extra responsibilities, or you have to get a new member of your team, or things like that. So look for some negotiation if you are looking for a raise. Otherwise, you can shift this energy by having them have to work to keep you. And that would be by increasing your skill set, finding other people that want to hire you. Those sort of things could get people to chase after you, and beg you to take more money. Okay, Pisces, you guys are doing this new moon, lighting up your house of health, well-being, also your daily routines, your work, and your relationship with your coworkers. So this is where the energy is and where you're needing to rethink some things, because it's getting that square to Uranus. So that could mean you get new coworkers or you have a new job. But I think that where you can do the most change in your life, the best change in your life, is to look at daily routines and see what you can switch up. And some of those will be based on a mindset, because this square to Uranus is coming from your house of communication and thinking process. So this is Leo energy, and Leo energy is very different than your own Pisces energy. And Leo energy, though, sits in your house of health and well-being. And what it can say sometimes is, this is the way I've done it. I'm not going to change. This situation's not going to change. I'm stuck. And because it's very fixed energy, but Pisces energy is very mutable. It's kind of like a fog. It can, be here and there. It shape shifts and all of that. And so embracing that energy can help you change something. And so look at where you've said, I'm stuck, or this is fixed, or this is going to last forever, or this is going to be, affect all of my life, and shift those fixed ideas to something that it allows for change. And that's where you could see a breakthrough when it comes to health, well-being, or your work situation. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, the moon's making an inconjunct to Neptune, which means that the person that you could meet for a love relationship isn't necessarily who you were expecting. They may not be your type, or they may be somebody who you just never thought that you might date, or they could be somebody who's attached to your work or something else in your daily life, and so you didn't really see them that way. And so that could be the little bit of the surprise. But if you're open to it, they could be a very interesting match for you. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Mercury is not making an aspect with Neptune, so things are just going along as usual. I do think, though, because Mercury is in your house of relationships, if you're making some sort of change in your daily life, I think your partner is going to say, yay, this is the thing I've been trying to tell you, but they weren't telling you in a way that was resonating with you. And so as you ask yourself the question in a new way and make the change, your relationship could get closer. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from Mars, which is making this really nice trine to Uranus in your house of communication, marketing, just reaching out to people. And so this is to look for a new way of communicating. And that might mean communicating with someone on a different platform, but it also could mean that you ask them a question or you take a different tact when you're talking to them. And that could bring you more money. This could be that you are revamping your marketing materials, where you are shifting the focus away from, that your business is great to how you can help your customer, or you are reaching a new audience. So you have some very good energy for making some money over this next 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to money from investments or from your business, Venus is making a semi-sextile to Mars, so that is making more money when you take care of the details, which makes sense because your house of daily routines is lit up. So that is looking at the procedures that you do, the processes you do, what's the system that you use to get your advertising out, what's the system that you use to process your orders or to make sure that you have enough merchandise. Looking at those systems now, making those changes, that's what brings you more money. And then when it comes to money derived from career, which is a paycheck, Saturn is not making an aspect with Mars, and your house of work is lit up. And so my hesitation about telling you to ask for a raise now is they're probably just going to give you more work. This energy is going to line up better in the future, and then you're going to have an easier time of getting a raise. But right now, it's possible that you just got a raise or that you're new to the team, and so it's just not quite the timing for this anyway. So I think you're just making about the same as usual over the next 2 weeks. Thank you for watching this video. I always end these videos with a clip of LaRue, and LaRue's not feeling too well these days, and he's trying to recover from something. And so if you can send your good thoughts and energy for him to get better, that I would really appreciate it. So please enjoy this rerun of a clip of LaRue.